Before the days of sleek gaming rigs, RGB lighting, and online guides telling you which components to choose, there was a different world, a time when computer enthusiasts, hobbyists, and everyday users had to piece together their machines from whatever parts they could find on local shops or mail order catalogs. It was a golden era of generic motherboards, and among the players, one company stood out. Today, we start with one of the most intriguing names in the shadows of the world. QDI. Not quite a clone, not quite a giant, but for a moment in time, QDI was everywhere. Welcome to Silicon Underground, a series that explores the forgotten tech that shaped modern computing. Quantum Design International, better known as QDI, was established in 1989 as a subsidiary of China Legend Group, the same company that would later become Lenovo. While Legend was focused on building China's computer industry, QDI was its international arm, focused on building motherboards for export. Their boards were affordable, surprisingly advanced, and targeted a growing market of home users, system builders, and enthusiasts. In the early 90s, the DIY PC scene was growing fast. Clone computers, PCs made from generic parts, were everywhere. QDI jumped in with full force. What set QDI apart wasn't just the price, it was innovation. At a time when adjusting CPU settings meant fiddling with physical jumpers, QDI introduced a new system, Speed Easy, one of the earliest implementation of jumperless BIOS for overclocking. This meant you could also tweak your clock speeds, voltages, and bus settings directly from BIOS without touching the board. Of course, some of the early motherboards versions had some kind of jumpers or jumper emulation, but in the late revisions the jumpers were removed. One of the earliest boards that used this implementation of jumperless emulation was the QDI P51-430VX 250DM. This was the revision 2, also known as the Explorer 2. And this was a modified version of the original revision, which had the same name. I do want to make a note that when I mention non-speed easy, I'm referring to motherboards that have jumpers on the PCB, and the motherboards that don't have jumpers as speed easy boards. And this is because there were different variants of BIOS for non-speed easy and speed easy revisions of motherboard. Now, the implementation of Speed Easy was a success as the variants of these features made it safer for regular users to modify the settings of his computers, making it possible for overclocking it. They also launched Logo Easy, a feature that allowed OEMs, system builders, insert their own custom logos, something very small but important for a brand identity. These ideas weren't just flashy, but they made QDI motherboards more flexible, more user-friendly, and ultimately more appealing to tech-savvy users. One of QDI's beloved products was the Legend 5 motherboard. Released during the Slot 1 era, the Legend 5 was known for rock-solid stability, support for Pentium 2 processors, and compatibility wide range of SD-RAM modules. It offered good documentation and one of the easiest setup experience of the time. It wasn't just affordable, it was reliable, and for many first-time builders, the Legend 5 was their gateway into the do-it-yourself PC world. By the late 90s, QDI had expanded into Europe, South Asia, and Latin America. They weren't a top-tier brand like Asus or Gigabyte, but they have carved their strong niche. In the early 2000s, things began to shift. The motherboard market consolidated. Asus, MSI, and Gigabyte began to dominate. QDI still was tied to Legend Group,
saw its parent company undergo a transformation. As we know it in 2003, Legend officially changed its name to Lenovo, and 2 years later it acquired IBM PC division. With a focus on now branded laptops and global expansion, QDI name quietly faded away. Today, QDI motherboards like the Legend 5 still lives on enthusiast collections. Their ideas like the jumperless BIOS settings and customizable boot logos paved the way for more accessible hardware interfaces. And while their names might be lost to time, QDI represents something important: the spirit of experimentation, of budget innovation, and of enabling people to build their own systems. In the next episode of Silicon Underground, we explore the world of clone boards, companies that copy big names but carve their own path. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more forgotten tech history.